What's up, everyone? Thank you for tuning in. So this is going to be my 2-year 2012 Power Wagon review. Just a quick recap for those of you guys that did not watch the first year of ownership of this. I suggest you guys go watch that. Overall, the second year, the truck's been fantastic. Nothing, knock on wood, nothing too terrible drastically has happened to this truck. I really love this truck. I got it, pretty high mileage for what it is, about 160,000 miles, give or take. Since the last video, I put about 3,300 miles. I just did an oil change today prior to filming this. I know most of you guys are probably going to be like, whoa, 3,300 miles, that's not a lot of miles before an oil change. Yeah, you're right. If this truck was the only vehicle that I have, but I trade off daily driving this truck with my 96 Civic. More details on that later, but I actually, believe it or not, been going back and forth my 91 Acura Integra. But no AC at this time of year sucks, so let's get back going back talking about this truck. So nothing bad happened throughout the year. Everything stayed the same. The last oil change I did, I used the Pennzoil Ultra Platinum 5W30 with the Viper SRT Mopar oil filter. Zero problems. Oil pressure was where it needed to be, exceeded where I wanted it to be. Everything else just running fine. So today I changed the oil and I switched to an oil company that I've wanted to use for a very long time, but just it's not one of those off-the-shelves oil brands. Depending where you live at here in Arizona, I can't find anybody that would even probably have it on a shelf, but Schaeffers. So I've heard of Schaeffers Oil through, if you guys don't follow Hunter Tuned, if you guys are into like LS builds or mostly like Honda builds, Honda tuning in particular, go check out his channel, Hunter Tuned, one word. He was the one that mentioned Schaeffers to me, Schaeffers in his videos many times, and he swears by it. He uses it in his 1500 Eco Diesel or whatever, zero problems with it. And like he beats the hell out of his cars and vehicles using that oil, so he swears up and down by it. So I finally thought I'd give it a try. It is one of the oldest oil companies to ever exist in America, from what I understand. I am running a 5W30 weight. I'm using their Supreme 9000 series. They have a Supreme 7000 series. I believe the only real difference that I found is just at what point the oil starts to shear off due to high temperatures. But I mean, out here in Arizona, again, where I'm at this time of year, I'm going to start seeing anywhere between 100 and 106 degrees. I can drive 30-40 minutes in either direction. I can be in an area where it's going to be like 110 plus with like at a minimum 30 plus humidity. So thankfully where I'm at, it's a pretty dry climate, unlike the south. So decided to give that a go. But other than that, the only things I've really done to this truck, that you guys have been following the channel, been following exclusively like the Mopar content, all I've really done to this truck was just add an oil catch can, which I'll put up a shot of here in a second, so you guys can see how much oil the can caught during the 3,300 miles of driving. Yeah, so that worked out really well. That's a really good investment. And then other than that, I did the Ford Windstar dual electric fan install. I didn't really get the results that I wanted to. Like, it definitely seems to work better than the single Dodge V6 fan. Would I say, if you already have the V6 fan, to go ahead and do, get rid of it and do the Windstar fan? No, I wouldn't do it. Just if you already got the Dodge V6 electric fan, the single one, just keep that. It'll be fine. You won't really see too night and day difference. Right now I'm driving, it's 100 degrees. I've been driving for give or take a little over 20, almost 30 minutes. Up hills, I'm seeing anywhere between like 197. Right now I'm flat ground, a couple going downhill. I'm seeing 190 coolant temp. Oil temp is at 185. Oil pressure is at a steady 48 psi. Trans is at like fluctuating between 165, 170. So everything's good to go. So there's that. I don't know if I mentioned before in the 1-year review, but I did add a Mishimoto radiator cap as well as a 180-degree thermostat. I might have mentioned that, I can't be sure, but just so you guys know, if you're wondering how I'm getting the coolant temperatures that I'm getting now, it's an ambient temp right now is about 100 degrees. I just came down a hill, I'm driving flat. It was at a steady 190 degrees Fahrenheit, now it's at 188. That's just my current setup. If you do for sure throw a 160-degree thermostat, it will for sure throw a code, even for the 2012s. So, did the oil change today, as well as adding an oil cooler. Now, the reason why I added the oil cooler was I do plan on towing with this truck eventually, mostly just towing all my Hondas, which roughly most of them weigh, give or take, around 2,500 pounds. So anywhere between 2,500 to 3,000 pounds, I'd assume, or sorry, 2,500 to 3,500 pounds, depending if I'm going to be towing it with a dolly or trailer or some other, you know, sketchy way of towing them. Hopefully not. Yeah, let's see here. Oh yeah, oil cooler. So I installed a Derale oil cooler kit. Now they have 2 kits. One of them was on back order. Well, at least some of the parts in that kit was on back order, so I opted out. And honestly, I wasn't really too interested in getting it anyway. So what it was the oil cooler kit with the oil cooler, sandwich plate adapter, all the different oil filter adapters that it comes with, oil filter relocation, and along with all the accommodating hoses to make it all work. I got the kit that had all that stuff minus the oil filter relocation. Reason why, and I know that sounds crazy because we all know the oil filter locations on these stock Hemis are, like, you know, of course, ironically saying the best place ever. So I didn't go through that route because the way I looked at it was more hoses, more places to find them mounted at. It's just like more things that I foresaw for it just to be a potential problem. So I just opted just to go with the sandwich plate adapter, oil filter adapters, and that's it. Oil cooler, whatnot. So I love how people can't drive. Let's see, so far it's been holding at a steady 185 degrees. And I've been driving now about, I don't know, I guess, you know, again, around 30 minutes highway, doing about 75 miles an hour. Oil pressures are around 49 psi. Yeah, this thing's solid. So oil cooler seems to be working. I will say there are install videos of how to do, you know, the Derale install. I'll put a link down in the description below. They, however, do an instruction of how to install it with the oil filter relocation. So I didn't do that. I just did, you know, what I stated. Keynotes. It comes with an extra plate that the sandwich adapter goes to. The Ram, the Hemi does not need it. It's specifically for GM stuff. I guess they have something weird going on with how their oil filter locations are at, and they need this extra plate. The Ram does not need it. Found that out the hard way. Also found out the hard way of putting the sandwich plate backwards, so that's my bad. But yeah, thankfully I solved that and 0 leaks. But other than that, guys, yeah, this truck has been a blast. I think the next thing I'm going to do, my goal for this year, if finances so let it be, I think I'm going to opt out because the transmission fluid looks good. The transmission, knock on wood, the 66 RFE is kicking ass. It's not doing any weird shifts or nothing like that. It's doing absolutely great. Transmission fluid color looks great. I mean, like, again, when I drive this thing, especially daily drive it, a lot of places in my town really isn't too far, so like it hardly sees like anywhere near the trans temperatures that it's seeing right now. So I'm gonna check it out right now. Trans temp is again fluctuating between like 168, 170. So yeah, it doesn't see anywhere near that. Sorry about that. But yeah, so I'll probably, my next step, probably, what I want to do is the front diff fluid, do that real quick, because I just haven't done it. Already done the rear, AMSOIL 75, 140 severe gear in the rear. I'm probably going to do like a 70, 90 up front. front diff, and then back to the transmission. I want to do the Mag High-Tech deep transmission pan. I was going to do a transmission cooler, like a bigger one, but honestly, since installing the oil cooler, I can't really see where I could, you know, room-wise put it. Oh, real quick, guys, so oil temp's at 186 right now, oil pressure's at 136 psi, so actually it's right at where it was stock. A lot of people were saying they lost psi once you install oil cooler kits. I've only noticed about 2 psi, maybe 3 max drop, and that's on startup and like cruising. But again, it's like well above recommended, you know, specs to where it needs to be within the RPM band. So everything's good there. So something I forgot to add was that earlier on in 2023, where I'm at in northern Arizona, we got hit by a pretty bad snowstorm. Now, we usually get snow every year where we're at, but it's once in a blue moon that we get it this pretty severe. You know, where we just get road closures and all that. And unfortunately, my city and somewhat county ordinance kind of sucks at being prepared for when snowstorms like this hit. It's usually always going to be like a highway road closures and stuff like that. Limited amount of plows, barely anything that gets salted on the road. And if it does, it takes forever, you know, for it to happen. And for those of you guys that are looking at this, that are living in the Midwest or up in Canada and kind of laughing, going, hey, that ain't snow. Check, I got you guys. But I mean, for where I'm at, it's pretty rare that we get hit like this, and this is kind of the main reason why I got the Power Wagon. If you guys haven't been watching previous videos in regards to the Mopar series, the truck that I traded to get this truck was a 2006 1500 Mega Cab, 2-wheel drive, and my wife and I got stuck up in Flagstaff due to a heavy snowstorm up there, and it was just a situation I didn't really want to find myself in if I could so help it ever again. So that's why I went to the Power Wagon. What other better off-road, you know, 4-wheel drive truck can you get that's set up from production the way it is? So what you're seeing right now, I have not touched anything in the wheels and tires since purchasing this truck. It's still on the stock factory 17-inch wheels, wrapped in Goodyear Wrangler Ultra Terrains, 33s. I do eventually want to go to 35 tires. I don't know what brand yet. Nothing too crazy. Like, I'm not planning on rock crawling this thing or just, you know, going overlanding or whatnot. Just something a little bit better than stock, but doesn't really hurt, you know, your average everyday to-day gas mileage. And honestly, I know I could probably throw 37s on it and the truck will be fine, but just given I got the 456 gears, 35-inch tires later on, which just seems to be the most logical choice for like what I find myself to be utilizing this truck for. That's pretty much about it, guys. Truck's been great. 2-year review. Hopefully, you know, I'll give you a 3-year review. Hopefully I have the new Mag High-Tech deep pan installed, and we'll go from there. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, ask down in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them as fast as I can when I can. And thank you for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.